Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most powerful speeches ever written. Seriously, it's a masterclass in persuasion that managed to turn an entire city on its head and, yes, even ignite a civil war.
So let's set this scene. It's ancient Rome, 44 BC. The air is just thick with tension. Rome's most powerful man, Julius Caesar, has just been assassinated by a group of senators, and they're led by the very well-respected Brutus. The future of the entire republic is, just hanging in the balance.
Now, in this absolute moment of chaos, one man, Caesar's loyal friend Mark Antony, steps up to speak at the funeral. And with these famous words, he kicks off a speech that is going to change the course of history forever. All right, to really get the genius of what Antony's about to do, we first have to understand the explosive political climate he's walking straight into.
You see, just moments before Antony even gets up there, Brutus has already worked the crowd. He gave this very calm, very logical speech, basically telling everyone that Caesar was this ambitious tyrant who had to be stopped for the good of Rome. And you know what? The people bought it.
So now, Antony has to speak to that exact same crowd, a crowd that's currently cheering for the guys who killed his best friend. He is, for all intents and purposes, walking directly into the lion's den.
And that brings us to Antony's incredible challenge. This is a task that looks completely and utterly impossible from the get-go. His problem is massive. He's furious, he wants revenge, he wants to restore Caesar's honor, but the conspirators have basically put him in a rhetorical cage. He can't just come out swinging.
They gave him a very strict set of rules. He had to get their permission to speak, he was forbidden from blaming them, and, this is the big one, he had to publicly agree that they were all honorable men. On the surface, his job looks completely hopeless.
Okay, so let's get into it. This is where we see how Antony brilliantly turns those very constraints into his greatest weapons. His first weapon? Good old-fashioned repetition. He starts by totally agreeing, oh yeah, Brutus is an honorable man. But then, he says it again, and again. He just hammers that phrase home, using it like this relentless drumbeat, until it starts to sound, well, not so honorable anymore. It's pure verbal irony.
And here's the really clever part. Every time he calls Brutus an honorable man, he pairs it with a piece of evidence that makes you think the exact opposite. This starts to create this major conflict in the listeners' heads, and slowly that word honorable goes from a compliment to a bitter, scathing insult.
Now notice this, Antony never ever says Brutus is wrong. He doesn't have to. He just presents facts. He asks, was it ambitious when Caesar filled Rome's treasury? Was it ambitious when he cried for the poor? How about when he refused a crown not once, not twice, but 3 times? He just lays out the evidence and lets the crowd connect the dots all by themselves. He plays it so smart, pretending to be totally neutral. He frames it like, hey, I'm not here to argue, I'm just a grieving friend here to share what I know. And that makes him sound so much more credible, so much more trustworthy than if he had just launched a direct attack.
So what you're seeing is this clear, devastatingly effective strategy. It's like a 3-punch combo. First, he plants that tiny seed of doubt with irony. Then, he waters it with cold, hard facts. And finally, he makes it all bloom by shifting the attack from their heads to their hearts.
And this is his final move, a powerful, raw appeal to emotion. He literally breaks down, overcome with grief right in front of them. By pausing and showing his own raw pain, he basically gives the crowd permission to feel their own sorrow and, more importantly, their anger. It's this very human moment that just seals the deal.
So let's look at the direct result of all these carefully chosen words and the lesson it teaches us about just how powerful language can be.
To put it mildly, a stunning success. The very same crowd that was cheering for Brutus just minutes before, well, they are transformed into an angry mob, and they are literally hunting down the conspirators in the streets. Antony has single-handedly ignited a brutal civil war.
And of course, this timeless lesson in persuasion doesn't come from some dusty old history book. It comes from the play Julius Caesar, written by the one and only William Shakespeare. It's his incredible understanding of human psychology that makes this speech just as powerful today as it was centuries ago.
And that really leaves us with a final thought. Antony's techniques are just as powerful today as they were in ancient Rome. Think about it. Repetition, subtle insinuation, a powerful appeal to emotion. Doesn't that sound like the playbook for modern politics, for advertising, for social media?
The stage might have changed, but the art of persuasion, it's pretty much exactly the same.